Alright, welcome to the Crystal Hive. Trying this live thing. Hopefully I do it right. It's all a learning process for me, just doing this for fun. I'm going to set up a game here. Gonna be playing with my buddy Mark again, as always. So I just changed my name on the Crucible online, so I'm just letting him know what the new game name should be. I'm thinking of starting everything by playing my super fun battle fleet deck called Yancy Hampvale Citizen. The reason this is fun is I have a battle fleet and 2 key abductions. So the fun of that is most of my Keyforges actually come out of the Keyforge step. I'm probably going to forge at least one in a game with a key abduction. Sometimes I've managed to get off a second one. But we'll see how this goes. Waiting for Mark to hop in here. Go over some things on the deck list while we wait. So there's a few anti-synergies. I have an autocannon, which I can't highlight it right now, but it's a Brobnar artifact, gain 1 bonus amber, and it's a persistent effect, meaning there's no bolded text, and it states every creature that enters play takes 1 damage. I also have a Coward's End, which is destroy all undamaged creatures. So you can immediately see how that both those cards work against each other. However, the really fun synergy that I didn't even notice was in this deck until a couple days ago is that same autocannon with Sanctum's Cleansing Wave. So every single creature that enters play takes 1 damage, and then Cleansing Wave is heal 1 damage from all creatures. And those that are actually healed, I gain an amber for each one. So it's a ridiculous amber burst. But we'll see how things go. I'm not trying to play anything super efficiently as always. This is just a channel to show people the cool things that can be done in Keyforge. Let's pop the game up here and get things rolling. So I'm the random start player. I started with drawing a key abduction. I immediately do not like that. I want that turn 4-ish. So I'm just going to toss this hand and mulligan, draw my other key abduction. But I do draw a Virtuous Works, which is a great game start. So I'm just going to start the game by playing that. Get the engines running right away. I'm going to turn some music on here because I always play better with music on. Let's turn that volume down just a little bit. So I play Virtuous Works, which gives me 3 amber. He played a treasure map, which gains him 4 because he didn't play any other cards. It's a fun counterplay. I think I am going to play Mars here. Let's just go for it. I'm going to play a Grabber Jammer and an Ixley Marauder. Ixley Marauder doesn't gain a benefit because nothing's ready, but I get to play my Martians Make Bad Allies. It's a really weird card, but it purges 2 non-Mars creatures, and then I gain an amber per creature purged. I'm going to play my Key Abduction. And I'm just going to put myself on 6 amber, and I'm going to keep my Ixley Marauder out. Or, sorry, in my hand. So you can see the crazy things you can do with this deck. I'm on turn 2. I've only played 3-4 cards, and I'm already on 6 amber. It just comes out of the gate really fast, and then it has a lot of cool combos to maintain tempo. You'll hear me use that word a lot, tempo. Tempo is a just card game turn, or really honestly a competitive game turn. Which I gotta keep the lips nice and soft. Just a little addiction there. But what happens is with tempo, you're maintaining the pace of the game. So you are the one that's setting the pace. You're the one that's making your opponent have to react to you. Whereas I'm forcing him to answer to things I'm doing. So I'm maintaining tempo. For those that are into music, you can think about it like a music. I'm keeping the beat. And if he falls off the beat, then it goes poorly for him and well for me. But some utility cards here out of Brobnar, so I'm just going to get them out. Get my autocannon out. Doesn't do anything for me now. It's going to end up damaging my creatures as I play them. But my Brobnar house has a crap load of artifacts. 3 is pretty heavy for Brobnar. Brobnar wants a lot of creatures. And just the Gauntlet of Command and the cannon help me maintain that board presence that Brobnar loves to have. But the reason I played my autocannon, 1, I drew it. It gets to be a bonus hammer. But 2, while it's out early, when I draw into Cleansing Wave later, I potentially have a lot of creatures already on the board between both myself and my opponent that have taken damage from it, so I can set up a pretty huge Cleansing Wave. Downfall of this deck is I do not have a lot of steel. So if he can manage to ramp his amber production, it's going to be pretty rough for me, so I need to try and maintain my own pace. So I'm going to play Sanctum here. I've got 3 Sanctum cards. Normally I would want to play Shield of Justice first to prevent my creatures from gaining damage. They have 1 armor, so the autocannon blocks it. Ultimately it's not going to matter the order, because they wouldn't have taken damage anyway. I'm just trying to build my board here. So we're 1-to-1 on keys. He got a decent amount of things out. He played an Anger, which allowed him to do a couple things with Valder. He did the trick where if you activate, or if you ready a creature and then fight with it, but there's no legal fight target, you have a readied creature, and since it was in his active house, he could then take any action with it. Fight is a subset of the use action, so he was allowed to continue to use that creature, and he chose to reap with it instead, so that's how he got up to his key. I think I've played against this deck once or twice of his. He's told me this is one of his stronger decks, and it's doing a lot of similar things where it's trying to maintain board state. I'm just going to see what I can end up doing here. He's probably going to try and just keep my board super small. He's got a Blood of the Titans, so this Valder is actually power 11. And then when she fights a flank creature, she's power 13, so she's really scary. I don't like that at all. So I'm going to say Brobnar. I'm going to play a War Song, then play a Troll. Let's just plop him on the right. Then I'm going to use Gauntlet of Command to ready him and fight with him. I'm going to fight Quixo. The reason I'm not targeting these Brobnar ones, Valder would just outright kill Troll. And then Crump is okay. I'm just use Cannon to dump some more damage into Valder to try and deter him from fighting with her too often. He's played a lot of Brobnar cards. He's played 6 of his 12 already. So chances of him continuing to choose Brobnar is fairly low. Depends on how badly he wants to take the board control from me. Right now I think we're about 50-50 on board control though, so I don't think he's too worried. Plays pawn sacrifice. He's going to sacrifice Valder because he probably realized she was going to die either way. But he uses that pawn sacrifice to take out my troll, followed by 2 poison waves. So this deck, I remember this one now, it has a lot of out of hand damage. He's keeping pace with me on Amber. I don't want to keep naming Brobnar, unfortunately, even though I could outright just kill Crump. So I'm going to say Sanctum. Play a Bulwark, so his neighbors get +2 armor, and then I'm going to play a Lady Maxina. Let's go to the left this time. And on play, I can stun a creature, so I'm going to stun his Crump. Got a Khaleesi Dragon. I can't brag too much. I have never gotten this Khaleesi Dragon to actually enter play. It's a very steep play cost for Brobnar, but it's one of those high cost, high reward cards. Cannot be played unless I have 7 Amber. So I need to have 7 Amber in the middle of a turn to be able to play it. If I get 7 Amber going into a turn, I spend at least 6 of that to forge a key, and I ruin the whole point of trying to get the Khaleesi Dragon out. I don't know. We'll see how my Amber production goes. It's probably not going to go too well. Just going to fight with Crump to take out my Bulwark. He's ahead of me on Amber production right now, so that's not fun. I do need to slow him down, so I'm going to play Mars and pop out this Jammer pack to, yeah, I'm going to play out the Jammer pack to make his keys +2, just to slow him down. I'm going to put on Lady Maxina because she's pretty beefy. And then I'll play a John Smith. And since he does have a lot of out-of-hand damage, I don't want to try and slow play this Ixaly Marauder. I just want to get some creatures out so I can start reaping. Alright, so I've got a Key Abduction. Key Abductions reads, bonus Amber, it's an action on play, return each Mars creature to its owner's hand. Then you may forge a key at +9 the current cost, reducing by reduced by 1 Amber for each card in your hand. So it's a tricky card to actually get to work, but with Battlefleet, I can stack my hand with cards and reduce the card pretty reliably. I don't think I have the cards to make it work right now. Yeah, he's gonna see. Pick Shadows just a Seeker Needle and pick off my John Smith. He was able to do that because the autocannon decreased my John Smith in the first place. We'll see. I have a Cleansing Wave in hand, so I'm just curious what he's going to be able to do here. I'm kind of in a tough spot, to be honest. There's not much I can do. I think I just have to cycle my hand. I am definitely behind. So I'm just going to call Brobnar to drop a Blood of the Titans on Lady Maxina to make her even harder to kill with that Jammer pack on. I'm going to play a War Song just to get it out of my hand. Gauntlet of Command's not going to do anything. Cannon's going to hurt me more than anything, so I'm just going to discard this Khaleesi Dragon. and end my turn. Just telling him I can't find my battle fleet. It's in the bottom 7 cards of my deck, along with 4 total Mars cards. This deck revolves around Mars. And then Sanctum and Brobnar are really good supports for it. But so he's playing some creatures out. I hope he keeps playing more, because I will probably play my Cleansing Wave if he does. Even if it just gains me 3, it's a bigger burst than usual. So now it's going to gain me 4. Yeah, I'm going to play Sanctum. I'm going to play my Cleansing Wave to gain me 4 Amber. Play my Gorm of artifact. Lady Maxina will... she'll reap. So I'm at check for key 2. 8 Amber. Cost is currently 6 for me. But he's playing Shadows. I don't remember his Shadow list too well. It's probably got a bait and switch. Yep. I think he's going to end up taking this game, to be honest. I didn't see very much of what I needed. His keys are still +2, so he... I gotta sit and think about this one. Oh man. This is the hard part about Keyforge. Sometimes you just have to sit and think, because you can play any number of cards from a certain house on your turn as long as you meet its requirements. The tricky part is the sequencing of the cards, especially in House Mars. So I think I'm gonna play Mars to reap with my Marauder. And I'm gonna just play out my... I'm gonna play my Key Abduction. I'm gonna play my Artifact, and then I'm gonna play my creatures out. First one comes in ready, so I'm gonna then play my Ixaly Marauder to capture 1, because I have 1 ready friendly creature. Now let's play another creature out. Almost forgot to remove the stun. I'm gonna end my turn there. I don't really want him. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Shadows cards accounted for. I'm actually going to burn my Gorm of to kill his Seeker Needle, so he can't just do 1 ping damage to kill my Marauder or my Mind Warper. I'm okay with him keeping the Speed Sigil. It will also help me. I'm just curious what he's going to do here. So my keys are 6 cost, his are still 8 cost. So I'm sitting on check for my second key again. Twin Bolt, so he's going to kill these two guys. My Marauder and my Mind Warper. Yep. Yeah, I don't think there's anything I can do to come back from this. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Especially since my very last card is the card I want to see super early. Battlefleet is such a strong card in this deck. I reveal any number of Mars cards from my hand and then draw a number of cards equal to that. So it's just a way to get my engine going super fast. So I got my second key, but he's a 12 amber. Let's just see what I can do here. If I go Brobnar, let's just have some fun with this. I'm going to use the Gauntlet of Command to make Lady Maxina fight. I will fight the Mother. The reason I'm doing that is because I want my Lady Maxina to have damage on her so that she doesn't die from Coward's End. I'm going to use Cannon to kill his Nexus. I'm then going to play Coward's End to kill his board, and then I'm going to play Unguarded Camp just to capture one, because why not? And then call that good. Alright, so Mark beat me pretty handily. I was just typing out that he had a really good turn 3 and 4, and I didn't have much of anything. So that was swung in his favor. I'm gonna pull up a deck list here. I'm just gonna give this deck another shot. Let's just leave this, start a new game. So I'm going to give this deck another shot. It's not my most consistent. It's up there on definitely my most fun. So I'm going to just play the exact same deck. Then if this still doesn't go well, I'm going to play one of my other stronger decks. Keyforge Compendium just released a new statistic that it calculates. It's the SAS rating. I don't remember what that stands for. You can see it in my deck list here. I have a 71.0 SAS with this deck. Essentially what that's capturing is the ability for your deck to work with itself. It calculates just your card strength and then measures it against your synergies, I guess is the best word. Figures out which cards play with each other, which cards play against each other. I heard somewhere online that a 75 is about an average competitive deck. This one's sitting 71, so it's a little low, but screw it, it's a fun deck, so let's get going. I'm first player again, just randomly picked. I'm going to play Sanctum. And just drop my Frankus out. So if you're not familiar with the rules of Keyforge, the first player gets a card draw advantage. Going into the first turn, they initially draw 7, where the second player draws 6. The downfall is that, as the first player, you can only play 1 card from hand. Some card effects can manipulate that, like Wild Wormhole allows you to play the top card of your deck. That can still count. That's why the clarification is you can only play 1 card from hand. Let's see. He doesn't have any amber, so I'm going to play some Brobnar, put out my cannon. I'm going to give Frankus +5 power. There we go, there's my battle fleet. Like I said last game, I want this super early. I want to try and play cards out of my hand to stack my entire hand with just Mars cards. If I'm able to do that, I could draw 5 cards and potentially play my entire Mars house in 1 turn. I'm not quite ready to do that, so I'm going to play Sanctum. Play my Gorm of Am out. He's got 2 elusive creatures, which sucks. So I'm gonna fight Bad Penny and just capture an Amber for it. I'm gonna actually discard my Cleansing Wave. It's not gonna do any good right now. I'm again just trying to cycle my hand to get Mars cards in it. By the way, this is the Crystal Hive. So welcome to my attempt at my first live stream. The previous attempt didn't go so well because I made my stream private by accident. So this is a public stream for Keyforge lovers, anyone that plays competitive Fantasy Flight games. People will argue that Keyforge is a casual game, which it definitely is. It's very accessible to people who don't play competitively. It's a game that you pay $10. You don't even need the core set. You pay $10, you get a single deck, you can play a tournament, and you can potentially win as long as you understand the mechanics of the game. It's super accessible to non-gamers, but it's also really appealing to gamers, as you can see by my whole collection behind me. I love games, and Keyforge is brilliant. Kudos, tip of the hat to Richard Garfield. I'm going to play Champion Anafiel here. Keep with the Sanctum house. I'm going to play him to the right. He has Taunt, so he's going to protect my Frankus. I'm also going to play Shield of Justice. And if he's going to keep playing Bad Penny, I'm going to keep using her to capture his Amber. Why not, right? Now I'm slowly trying to build my board, trying to cycle through my cards. I still only have 4 Mars cards. I have now a Bulwark and 2 Sanctum creatures out. So he's going to play Bumpsy, makes me lose 1 Amber. The drone that adds to the That's a great name. Mark has so many decks with awesome names. Mine are always like of the same structure. It's a name and then a title. So Yancy, Hampvale Citizen. He's the drone that adds to the thing. He also has a deck. I don't know where it stands or where he thinks for his strongest deck, but it's called He Who Seeks Trade. Which is funny for this game because a lot of people will buy decks. The decks you buy initially are pretty random. You just open a box, you have no idea what's inside, and most people who take this game pretty seriously trade for their cards. They trade for the decks they want. So let's see. I'm going to play Sanctum again. And I'm going to play a Bulwark to the left to protect my Frankus. So with Frankus, I'm going to fight a Bumpsy. Then I'm going to Reap with my champion Anafiel. Now you'll see I keep triggering yes, I want to end my turn. The reason it's asking me for that in the Crucible is because I have a card that has an Omni effect, so it always makes sure you notice the Omni effect. Omni means I can play it on any turn regardless of what house I have claimed. With my hand, that turn I drew another Mars card. I am going to play my Battle Fleet next turn. It doesn't matter that I don't have a full hand. I'm still going to be drawing 4, and we'll see how it can pan out. I don't remember his deck at all. I don't like looking up deck lists while I'm playing online. I like using online play to test my ability to adapt. So he's going to play a Pawn Sacrifice on Bad Penny, which will kill my champion Anafiel. And yeah, and then do, I think it was 2 damage to my Frankus. I'm just going to Booby Trap to kill my, well, let's see if he remembers about my Blood of Titans. This is a pretty good card to protect a creature. Basically makes them double strength. 5 is a pretty strong power, so being able to make this guy 11 with 3 armor, pretty tanky. And the fact that he captures Amber is what I was looking for. So he's saying that he just played things in the wrong order. Yeah, so playing things in the wrong order is a very real problem in Keyforge. Most of your strength of cards comes from the order in which you play them, and if you play them in the wrong order, it feels terrible. So like this, I always want to play Battle Fleet first. I'm going to reveal 4 cards. So I draw 4. I don't draw my Grabber Jammer. Or I do draw my Grabber Jammer, I don't draw my Jam Pack. But let's just see how this will go. My Key Abduction isn't going to do me any good right now. But if I put my Dominator to the right to protect my Frankus, and then I put my Grabber Jammer to the left to get +2 armor from the Bulwark, and then I'm going to put my Ixalo Bolter to the right of my Dominator to protect him with Taunt, and call that good. So the great thing about Invasion Portal is I cycle through my deck until I find a Mars creature. It gets me, I can cycle through my deck I think 5, 6, 7 times in a game because of that card. So looking at my deck, I have 2 Mars creatures remaining. Both of them would be great to see play. So I'm going to end up playing this, and I already have 1 in hand. So I'll end up playing 2 Mars creatures. I have 3 on the board. So I can do some funny stuff if it all falls into place. So I'm just going to stay with Mars. Use it to draw. I draw my Ixaly Marauder. He has no Amber to capture, so I do not want to play the Marauder. I'm going to remove that stun. So the Ixalo Bolter, I deal 2 damage to a creature, and if that damage destroys that creature, I purge it. I think I want to get rid of his Bumpsy. But no, maybe I'll get rid of his Urchin. So I'm gonna Reap, hit his Urchin. Then I'm gonna Reap with my Grabber Jammer. I'm gonna play out a Mind Warper. Again, I'm gonna keep my Ixaly Marauder and my Key Abduction. I'm well outside of my Key Abduction range, I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'd have 10 cards in hand. My key would be 6 plus 9 is 15. So my key would be 5, and this would only put me to 4. So playing it would lose me the chance to forge out a turn. So I'm just going to keep it. I don't want to nuke my Gorm of Am yet to kill one of his artifacts. I don't quite know what artifacts he has. I'm just going to kind of sit and wait it out. So you can see this deck is functioning much differently than the previous game, and that is completely because of the battle fleet. It gets me through, it's 4 of at least a quarter of my deck, if not more, depending on how much is left in my deck or how many cards I'm able to reveal. Sorry, I'm also multitasking on my phone here, trying to share some information about a local tournament with a friend. Okay, looks like he's playing Dis. He's got 3 Dominator Baubles, which is crazy. He's using one to fight with Bumpsy. And the reason I'm playing with this deck a lot is it has a lot of strengths, doesn't have a lot of practice against multiple types of decks. And since I let Mark know about that SAS stat that I was talking about earlier, he wanted to reevaluate some of his other decks that he's kind of written off. So I'm playing one of my stronger, but not strongest, deck against him, because we both want to get some testing done. Okay, so he mind barbed me to make me discard my Frankus that's in my hand. He has 1 amber. I'm going to continue with Mars. And I will play, well, I'm going to Reap to capture 1 and gain 1. I'm just going to continue to Reap. The nice synergy with my Ixtlo Bolter is, so there's no May in his text, so I must do 2 damage to a creature. When I Reap, I'm just going to dump it straight into my Frankus, who has 3 armor, so he blocks all of it. I'm going to Reap with my Mind Warper. And then I think I have enough amber to make this key abduction work. So let me see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. 7, 8, 9, 10 would be in my hand. So it'd be cost 15, 9 plus 6, minus 10. So it'd be 5. So yeah, I'm going to do it. Play it. I would like to forge a key. And now I can restructure my hand. So I can restructure how my cards are out there. Play my Dominator to the right again. I'm actually going to play my John Smith to the right of the Dominator, because he is amazing. I'm going to still put the Grabber Jammer to the left here. I'm going to play my Mind Warper to the right. And my Bolter to the right. I'm going to keep my Ixtli Marauder in my hand for the same reason as before. It's a waste for me to play it right now because I had all exhausted Mars creatures. But if I play it later, then I can capture 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 amber on him, which would give him plus 5 power. I'm also gaining 0 benefit from using my invasion portal now because all of my Mars creatures are accounted for. There's none in my discard. They are all either in play or in my hand. So using my evasion portal, I would only really do it if I want to shuffle my deck, which I kind of do, because I want to see more things like my Virtuous Works. I want to see my Battle Fleet. So I know what's coming up just because I can look here. I probably won't use it. I'll just try and naturally draw into it. Alright, so he plays an autocannon. He's in House Brobnar right now. So I know this deck would definitely appeal to Mike Rudin of the Wild Wormhole. I know he's been chasing a Battle Fleet Key Abduction deck, and this is by far the most entertaining one. Again, it has some weaknesses. Board clears really slow it down, but it's just super fun. I'm gonna play Mars still. There's no point in me not using this. So I'm going to play my Marauder to the right. I will capture all 3 on him, which gives him +3 power. So he's at 5 power. Grabber Jammer, I will reap. Remove this stun. I'm going to reap. Again, I'll dump it into someone that can block all the armor. I will continue to reap. And then John Smith allows me to ready a non-agent Mars creature. At this point it doesn't matter. Grabber Jammer is a great target because it allows me to capture when I reap. So is Ixlo Bolter if he has a board. I'm just going to do the Dominator because regardless of what target I pick, I'm just going to reap anyway. I'm actually going to use my Gorm of Om to get rid of his Screech Bomb. I don't want him to be able to set me back, and that would make me lose 2 Amber. So I'm going to end my turn. Drawn to Shield of Justice and a lot of Brobnar stuff. So should my board get cleared, I have some recovery I can make with Brobnar. The fun thing is if he has something that delays my Forge, like a Miasma, or really Miasma would probably be the only thing that could prevent it right now. And he is choosing Shadows, so it's possible. If he were to play Miasma, I could drop a Khalifi Dragon, because I would have 7 Amber going into the turn, but instead he plays an Old Bruno, which is elusive and on play captures 3. Yes, he does have a Miasma, but he is able to steal or capture 3 from me. And my Mars creatures, you'll notice, are all pretty weak. There's 2 power elusive, 2 power elusive, 3 power, and 2 power. He's innately 5 right now, just because of his ability, but that makes Earthshaker pretty crappy for me. It would nuke all of my engine that I've built with my Mars house. So if I played Brobnar, I'm just going to pitch it, but I'm just going to keep with Mars. There's 0 reason to do anything else. If he had an answer for what I was doing, he would have already played it. So I'm just going to keep harassing this house. Reap. So I will reap, which is going to do 2 damage to Old Bruno, which will purge him and get me my 3 Amber back. And then I'm going to reap with John Smith to just do the Dominator again. And end my turn, yes. Again, it's asking me because I'm in House Mars, giving me an action to cycle through my deck, but there's no benefit to me doing that. Generally, when your deck is in a really good spot, you're not playing cards out of hand. You're just abusing your board. I'm just curious what he has. He looks like he has a pretty crazy House Dis card, or House Dis. He's not played a ton of cards from it. Look at that. Just anticipated that. So he's going to Hand of Dis my Frankus. Makes sense. He's going to get 3 Amber back because he had Capture 3 on it. He's going to fear my Grabber Jammer. So Grabber Jammer just goes back to my hand. I was going to play Tendrils of Pain to do 1 damage to everything. He has no creatures, so it's a really good time for him to play that. He's going to play his Snudge and the Terror. So now he's drawing his cards to build a board. I think it's really, honestly, too little too late for him. I think he's just using his Dominator Baubles just for the hell of it. Because there's no the text on Dominator Bauble is use a friendly creature. So it must be ready for you to be able to action it. By ready, I mean it needs to be standing. It needs to be vertical. So I'm just going to keep abusing my Mars house. I do not like Snudge. Snudge is really annoying. So I'm actually going to fight him to kill him. I'm going to... I'm going to use the ability to make the Terror capture one of his own. Then I'm going to Reap and do 2 damage to the Terror, so put him at 3. I'll Reap with that guy. Now I'm going to play my Grabber Jammer back out. The reason I'm going to do it in that order is because I want to Reap with John Smith to ready my Grabber Jammer to allow me to Reap him, Reap and then still capture one. End my turn. And I'm on 2 keys of 12 Amber to his 3 keys, or 3 Ember, 1 key. Not sure what he can do here. Bait and Switch would have been an awesome play for him. Again, I don't know if his deck has that. If you like the content, sometimes it's not that fun to watch a card game, but hey, you get to stare at me, stare at the screen. If you like what you're watching, please click subscribe. It's definitely going to help me build my presence, help me just get this game out there, help me get my content out there. And go on over to YouTube as well. Same name, The Crystal Hive. Give me a subscribe there. Mark just said, holy crap, this ran amok. And it's completely what this deck does. If my Mars house gets set up, it runs out of control. And as you can see, I haven't even drawn any cards for 3 or 4 turns. And again, that's completely due to me seeing my battle fleet, but also him not having a blatant board clear, and I wasn't allowing him to maintain board presence. So there's a couple things that fell into place, all that got started by me grabbing a battle fleet and getting a really good card draw out of it. Alright, so this deck is 1-1 for the night. He wants to continue playing. Alright. Let's see what else I can do here. Alright. Let's see. I probably got time for one more game. Looks like he's going to take a quick break. I'm going to pop my logo up here. I'm also going to take a break. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Alright, sorry about that, I'm back. I'm going to try a different deck here. This one's called Scholar Spectragig Gruger. It's a tongue twister. Based on the stats that I was given earlier, it has an 82.0 SAS rating, so it's slightly above competitive average. And sorry, give me a second. Cats are getting feisty. Alright, sorry about that again. So this deck, it's really consistent. It's really fun to play. Just annoys the crap out of my opponents. It has a lot of ways to manage Amber. It also has 3 punches in House Brobnar, so it has a lot of direct kill. And it has an average creature base of 16. Slightly above average actions. Let's see, I guess the Crucible wants me to go first all night. So let's see what we can do. It also has an Evasion Sigil. This card's really fun. I don't want to play this early, so I'm probably going to pitch my hand. I want Evasion Sigil to hit the board after I have board advantage, because then it makes it really hard. Excuse me again. It makes it really hard for Mark or my opponent to pull back board control. So I'm just going to start with my Shadow Self. I almost misclicked and played nothing, so let that be a lesson to you. Slow down. He's going to match with his own Shadow Self. He is playing Xanaflare, Pit Scammer. I'm playing against Scholar Spectragig Gruger. Don't quite know what I want to do here yet. Okay, so I'm going to play Sanctum. I'm going to put my Raiding Knight to the right and Sergeant Zakiel to the right of that to allow me to fight with my Raiding Knight into the Shadow Self to just start dumping damage into it. I'm going to actually throw away this Spirit's Way. It's a little early for me to see it. I have a couple ways to clear the board, so I'm not too worried. We will see if that's a mistake later. I drew into a really big hand of Brobnar stuff, so I'm actually not too upset about throwing away that Spirit's Way. He plays a Murmook. My keys are +1. It's protected by the Shadow Self. But let's go ahead and play Brobnar. Get my Screech Bomb out. So it's Omni. I can force him to lose to Amber. It's kind of a oh shit card. Like, oh, he's gonna forge Screech Bomb. I do need to get rid of this Shadow Self, so I'm going to punch it twice. Now I have access to kill this Murmook. Shadow Self absorbs the damage of both of its neighbors, so I feel it's better than Taunt. Regardless if your opponent fights it or does direct damage to the neighbors, it always does damage to Shadow Self. With Taunt, they can do direct damage around the Taunt and still kill the creatures you want to protect. But I'm going to play a Headhunter to the left. I'm going to play a Ganger Chieftain to the left to allow me to ready my Headhunter and kill his Murmook. The reason I did that in that order, I dropped the Headhunter to the to the neighbor of Shadow Self. So the damage that Headhunter took in return goes on to the Shadow Self instead. So if you guys like the stream, go ahead and leave comments, leave suggestions for future videos. Do you want me to play sealed games? Do you want me to play different styles of decks? Do you want me to talk through my turns differently? Let me know in the comments below. Also, hit subscribe, hit follow. Find me on YouTube, again with the same name, The Crystal Hive. And check out all my content. It's not super well built yet, but I'm getting there. And if you guys let me know what you want to see, I can start building content that you will want to see. So he's playing Logos. This is a Time Traveler deck. That's a really cool card. Bonus Amber on play, draw 2 cards, and he can take an action to just shuffle it back into his deck. I'm going to play Sanctum. Try and make use of Take Hostages here. I'm going to play a Bulwark to the left. I'm going to protect the Ganger Chieftain a little bit. I'm going to play Take Hostages, so anytime I fight, that creature, if it survives, captures an Amber. So I'm going to have the Raiding Knight fight his Time Traveler. The reason I chose that target is the Time Traveler's damage was completely blocked by this armor. And then I'm just going to reap, well, yeah, I'm just going to reap. And then I will play Terms of Redress to capture some Amber on my Raiding Knight. I'm actually going to hold the Harder They Come. That's not a card I want to throw away. I want that in case he plays a really big creature. I want to be able to have an immediate answer for it. The trick with Keyforge, the intricacies of the deck are completely about knowing when to play cards, when to discard cards, and when to just hold cards. You do want to cycle your hand as much as you can, but when you are unable to do that, I always call it a 2-2-2 hand, when you have 2 cards from each house to make up your total of 6. Then your hand gets what I call just jammed. You can't cycle it, you can't play a lot of cards. So sometimes when you hold cards, that happens, but it's better to have answers for really blowout creatures or blowout plays than to discard them and wish you had saved them. Really, this is my mentality. Some people don't play that way. I prefer to play that way. I'm curious what I can do here. I can kill up to... I can definitely kill 3 of his creatures. And I think I'm going to have to, so I'm going to go Shadows, drop a Secret Needle. I'm going to play Relentless Whispers to get rid of my Ganger Chieftain. Oh, oh, it's late. I totally misplayed that. I was thinking that was Pawn Sacrifice. 1 second. Total misplay on my part. We'll see if that comes back to screw me. I don't care if he steals Amber at this point, at least. I don't like his Diagonal Spymaster. It would allow him to use his archive from the discard pile if he was playing off turn. So I'm going to nuke that guy. Now since I played that card properly, since it killed the creature, I gain an Amber. So I'm now sitting on check. I'm going to reap with my Shadow Self. end my turn, so I'm at 7 amber to his 0. So you can see, at least start to see the power of this deck. It's all about playing some creatures that interact with each other. Let me pop up the deck list here again. So it has some interaction. The score from Keyforge Compendium, the ADHD score, which I don't understand why it's called that. It should be the ABAE, whatever. It says its efficiency is minus 1.91, which means it's 1.91 points below the average of all the 600,000 plus decks that have been registered. Which I've seen somewhat. This deck does have a decent amount of between house efficiencies. It's definitely not a main mechanic though, so I can see where that stat's coming from, but I don't quite agree with how low it is. I've got some really good Sanctum cards here. Played Miasma to prevent me from forging, so I don't want to reap too much. I don't want to walk into giving him a huge bait and switch. So I'm going to... I think I'm going to use this turn to play Brobnar. So I'm going to play a Bumpsy to the right. On play, he loses 1 amber. And the reason I chose the right is that I'm going to put Valder here onto the left. Valder now has 2 armor and gains +2 power when fighting flank creatures. I'm going to use Headhunter to fight against... I'm going to just choose an elusive creature so I don't lose this creature to damage, or take damage. But he survives, so I gain an amber. And now my Ganger Chieftain will fight against the same target. And it's blocked by 2 armor. So we call that good. So I didn't walk into a huge bait and switch. If he does have it in this deck, which I honestly do not remember. It's hard enough to remember my own decks, let alone his or anyone else's. So I'm not going to give him too much. If he does play a bait and switch, we both go to 5 amber. I have enough of a board where I can reap that back very fast, and I have some stuff in my hand that could capture his amber to recover from it. He's playing Logos. He's going to reap. Okay, so he's not choosing that action. This is a hard choice with this creature. It's a really powerful action. You get to return cards from your discard pile into your archive, so it's a bit of a turn delay. But he gets his Time Traveler back. He's got a pretty cool Logos suite in this deck. I really like it. I wish I had a deck that was that cool with House Logos. But I really love the Sanctum suite in this deck, and the Shadows is a really good support. And this Brobnar house is just kind of an icing on the cake. It's nothing to brag about, but it does help support and keep board presence for me. But I do need to play Sanctum here to protect my board and prevent him from reaping. So I'm going to put a taunt on the left here to further protect Valder. Drop my Gorm of Just, excuse me. Sorry, it's cold and flu season out here in Colorado, so I'm hopefully not catching something. Got a nasty cough. I'm going to play Commander Remiel to the left to protect it with the taunt again. I'm going to play Honorable Claim. I have never seen this card before this deck, and I love it. Every single knight of mine captures 1 amber, so he's currently at 8 amber. I have 5 knights, so I just captured 5 amber. Nothing to frown about. And then I'm just going to... I think I'm just going to reap. And then I'm going to use this Raiding Knight to kill his Time Traveler again. And then I'll reap with my Sergeant Zakiel. and call that good. I'm still holding the harder they come. He doesn't have a lot of big creatures, at least from what he's played so far. The largest has been his Shadow Self. But he's playing Untamed, which is known for having a lot of variable creatures in strength. He's going to play Nature's Call, which will return up to 3 creatures to their owner's hands. He's probably going to bounce my Raiding Knight, my Raiding Knight, Champion Anafiel, and my Commander Remiel. So we got a lot of Amber back just by bouncing targets that had a lot of capture on them. There's the card I thought I was going to play earlier, Pawn Sacrifice. Let's see, this Flaxia now has Assault 2, so it does 2 damage on an attack before the attack actually happens. And a Regrowth to get his Time Traveler back. So he has a lot of ways to keep that Time Traveler out, which is really cool. I don't know what the right choice is going to be here, to be honest. I think Shadows is going to set him back the most. This is a tough choice. So let me go Shadows. I'm going to do a Seeker Needle to kill his Urchin and gain an Amber from it. I'm going to then play an Evasion Sigil. This I have board advantage, so this is what I feel like is a good time to play it. I'm now going to play my Pawn Sacrifice, sacrifice my Bumpsy to do 3 damage to 2 separate targets. So I'm going to hit his Valen Analyst and his Novu Archaeologist. Kill one, do some damage to the other. Then I'm going to play Old Bruno, capture 3, and call that good. So he's going to get a key. I'm not too scared of this artifact. I want to save my Gorm of Am for stronger artifacts. So we'll see what he can play here. So now it's going to be hard for him to fight to clear my board. He has to have a lot of direct damage. Because Evasion Sigil reads, before a creature fights, discard the top card of its controller's deck. If the discarded card is of the active house, exhaust that creature with no effect. So if he outright fights, he could forfeit his entire action with that creature, which I want because it makes his deck inefficient. And I have creatures that are much stronger than his. He was able to get a fight off with Old Bruno, between Old Bruno and his Dysania. So he discarded a card and it was not of his active house, so he was able to continue the fight. Okay, so he played Skippy Time Hog. That's such a good card. I've seen it in so few decks, and it's probably for good cause. I cannot use cards on my next turn, so I must play cards. So I can't reap, I can't fight, I can't use actions. So use is any of those subtypes where a card is already in play and you do something with it. So I have to play cards from hand next turn or I can't do anything. He still doesn't have any big creatures, so I'm probably going to discard this harder they come. He's already cycled his deck. He's got some cool tricks in this. That was a really nice time travel, or wild wormhole, where he drew a Lost in the Woods and shuffled a couple creatures back into our decks. Let's see. leaves me with just a Brobnar board. And I can't use cards again, so the best thing I'm going to do here is play Sanctum. I'm on my second key. He will definitely get into his second key. Let's go my Raiding Knight. Put out my champion Anafiel to protect my Valder. Then put out my Commander Remiel to be protected by that taunt. And then I'm going to put Terms of Redress, gain me a bonus amber, and I capture 2. And then I'm going to, again, discard this. I don't think that's going to be a card that's going to help me this game, at least against his deck. So even though I had a strong advantage early, this game's crawling back to being pretty even. Neither of us can really fight efficiently, but he's managed to get one through on a character or creature that mattered. He killed Old Bruno, which was capturing 3 of his amber. I drew another Old Bruno. I do have 2 in this deck. I also have 2 Shadow Self. The super fun card in this deck is Bullet Eye. If I can manage to get her out and protect her, I can just wreak havoc on his board. It doesn't matter what power a creature is, how much armor, if they're taunted or not. I just outright on Reap destroy a flank creature. The catch is, against his board, if he doesn't have creatures on the board and I Reap with Bullet Eye, I must destroy one of my own flank creatures. So it's a bit of a catch-22. You don't want to play it well when she's out. You really don't want to Reap with her if your opponent has no board of creatures. So you gotta be careful about how you use her. He's catching up really quickly here, so I'm going to stay with Shadows. And I'm going to use the Seeker Needle to kill his Skippy Time Hog, or... it's actually not that strong, so I'm going to kill his Archaeologist over there. And then I'm going to play Nerve Blast to steal an Amber and do 2 damage to a creature, so I will kill his Dysania. Then I'm going to play Old Bruno to the right, capture 3. And I'm going to play Bullet Eye to the right, just to get her on the board. Still not too scared about his... I just kind of want to see what I've seen. Yeah, I'll just stop there. So I've got 4 Amber to his 1. We're both on 2 keys. I do have a board advantage. Evasion Sigil is going to protect that pretty heartily against at least fights. It's just going to depend on what out-of-hand damage he has to help try and equal it. So he's got a Booby Trap. So he did 4 damage to Old Bruno to kill him, which then kills my Bullet Eye. So that was a good play. Raiding Knight would have taken 2 damage, but he had 2 armor, so it was blocked. And then I think I'm going to end up playing Brobnar next turn, based on what I drew into. So he drops a Dusk Runner on Reap, steal 1. So what Dusk Runner does as an upgrade, it allows him to gain 2 Amber per Reap with that creature. I need to steal, and I actually don't have any steal. So I'm going to end up having to play some tricky stuff with Crump here. So let's go Brobnar. He played a Speed Sigil, which is going to help me, actually. He just doesn't know it yet. Crump's going to have some fun. I'm going to play Crump to the right. Comes in ready because of Speed Sigil. So Crump will fight Skippy Time Hog. Kill him. I make him lose an Amber. Then I'm going to play a Ganger Chieftain to the right, which will ready and let me use Crump again. I'm going to fight Flaxia, just to guarantee I kill her so he loses another. Then I'm going to use Punch to punch the Shadow Self. I'm going to fight with the Headhunter against Shadow Self. I survived the fight, so I gain 1 amber. I'm going to play Anger on the Headhunter again, against the Shadow Self again. And then I'm going to play Phoenix Heart on Champion Anafiel. And I'm going to Reap. And I will use Gorm of Om to nuke his Speed Sigil, because I don't want him to get the same advantage of it as I do. Let's see, I ramped that turn, I think it was at 4 amber, so I was able to gain 6 amber that turn, and all but 1 creature clear his board. I could have killed the other. It was just better in my benefit to just Reap and try and press the endgame condition. So I'm going to play Logos. Yep, Effervescent Principle, so I lose half of my amber. He gains a chain and also loses half of his amber, but it sets me back a turn, so it buys him a little time. He's going to Reap to draw a card. Play his other Novu Archaeologist. And I'm going to play Shadows. Why? Because I want to. Smart thing would be to probably just abuse my Brobnar. But I'm not trying to be smart, I'm just trying to have fun. Let's go Shadows. I'm going to play Pawn Sacrifice to get rid of my Commander Remiel to do 3 damage to each of his Archaeologists. I will kill one with a Seeker Needle, which will gain me an amber. I'm going to play Relentless Whispers to kill his other and steal 1. And then Bruno is going to go to the left of my champion Anafiel and capture 3. I'm going to hold this Relentless Whispers just in case. And call that turn. So if you've seen the last few turns, my deck does what it wants to almost every turn. Shadows, almost every card has some type of answer to amber production. He just plays a Miasma to slow me down. I can't remember if he has a bait and switch. I don't think he does. So I'm just going to use my Brobnar board because I have the most creatures out of that house, and I'm just going to Reap. If he has a bait and switch, he's going to get a lot of amber off of me, but I don't think he does. I'm going to play an Anger just to ready a creature. This is the trick I was talking about earlier. So ready and fight with a friendly creature. I chose a creature in my house that I'm using, Brobnar, and it attempts to fight, but can't. So it's now readied, and I can just do any other action or any other use with it. So now I'm sitting at 16 amber and 2 keys to his 2 keys, 1 amber. I have a full creature board, he has 0. He's going to go Untamed, which means he doesn't have any steel in hand, so he's just going to play this game out. So he destroyed my Crump. It was my only damaged creature. He played Save the Pack. Destroy each damaged creature, gain 1 chain. He's going to play Mimicry. What's he going to copy? My Pawn Sacrifice? No, Relentless Whispers. Okay. Alright, and then he ends. And I forge a key. Yeah, so he had no answer on that. His deck has some cool tricks. Effervescent Principle to save the packs. His House Logos is awesome. Just tons of fun with Time Traveler, Wild Wormhole, Skippy Time Hog, lots of ways to return cards from his discard pile. Let me pop the deck list back up here. Alright, if I had to look, probably the all-star of this deck. I don't know, I think the all-star of this deck, at least for that game, was probably all of my out-of-hand damage and shadows that allows me to steal based on certain conditions. My old Brunos were awesome. And then just my Brobnar presence made it hard for him to fight. He had no option. Like, his creatures were not going to kill mine. And then I drop Evasion Sigil, so he has a hard time clearing my board once it's out, unless he has direct damage or direct clears. So I'm gonna keep that deck list up here for a little bit. So, things I learned tonight about these decks. These are decks I'm thinking about taking to my tournament at a local game store here this weekend. It's a triad format. Let me pull up the information on that so I can properly quote what the format is. I don't think it's an official format. I think it's a modified format, but every player is bringing 3 decks. And each round, each player chooses one of their own 3 decks to bench. So it's out of that match. Then for the remainder of the match, you have to win with both of the decks that remain. So you have 3 possible decks, and then what you can do is you can choose the deck you want to bench based on the decks that your opponent is bringing. But what you don't know is what they're going to bench. So, and then it creates an interesting tug of war, basically, of you need to win with both decks, so they all 3 need to be decks that you can win with. And I think it'll be super fun. I want to post a view of that tournament after it posts. It's going to be on Saturday. So I might do a quick 15-20 minute recap of how it went, how my decks did, what decks I saw. But for now, I'm just going to log off. It's been a long day at work and a long night of Keyforge. I've been streaming for about an hour and a half now, so that's about 1 round of a tournament. But after a long day at work, it gets pretty tiring. So as always, it's the Crystal Hive. Take care, have a good night, click subscribe, click follow, spread the word, bring it to your friends, and I will catch everyone next time.